Welcome to another episode of the Inspirational Corner with me, your host, Stylisha Bowden, where we encourage you here to live bold, live loud, and live authentically without apology. Welcome to another episode, everyone. I am so excited about this episode. I'm so ready to get into this episode, but before I do, I first want to thank all the new people that have decided to listen in today. And if you are new and this is your first time listening to this podcast, don't worry. This podcast is new as well. And with that said, I am encouraging you to subscribe so you will not miss out on any new uploaded podcast episodes. If you would love to share this podcast, I would really appreciate that. If a person needs to be uplifted, empowered, and inspired, this is the podcast for them. And now, I am going to get into this episode. Today, I am going to talk about being happily unmarried. I know that's a oxymoron, and can you really be happily unmarried? I truly believe you can. I think it's important that you are happily unmarried before you are happily married, if that's what you want to be. And so, in saying that, recently I had a conversation with my brother, and we were talking about marriage, and the conversation was really good. And of course, my family know how I am and know the type of woman I am, and grown into. And so me and my brother, my oldest brother, me and him was having a conversation, and he was like, I know marriage is not your thing. And I said, no, I'm not in a rush for it, because I had a great example of my parents. They were married for 40 plus years up until my dad passed away. I think they were married for overall 45. And one thing I learned from their marriage was that marriage is about allowing two people in that relationship, each person, to be themselves. I used to always ask my parents what was the key to a lasting marriage like theirs. And my dad and mom would say the same thing. My dad would say, your mom let me be me, and I let her be her. They both gave each other the freedom to be them. And so I'm talking about this subject because I am happily unmarried. Not saying that I don't want to get married. I believe and know that part of my life will come, but am I making it my main focus and desperate for it and choosing not to be happy now? No. I truly believe in the society that we live in, especially as a black woman, that it is looked down upon if you are a woman of a certain age, especially in the African American community. If you're over, I would say 35 and not married yet, people look at it as if there must be something wrong with you. And I beg to differ. I don't believe that you should be desperate to be in a relationship or desperate to get married. I don't think it's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a relationship, because that's part of being a human. And my brother said it best, it's nothing wrong with wanting to get married. It's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a relationship, because that is how God created us, relational, to connect with each other and to be connected. So don't deny yourself or deprive yourself of it. But on the flip side, it's some people that do not want to be married, just like some people that do not want to, some women, we do not want to have kids, and so I think it is okay if you are a woman of a certain age, whether you over 35 or over 40 or whatever, and you're not married at this time, or you just decided that marriage is not for you. I think it's so important that we stand in our truth and we don't judge other people, especially women. I see it more from the women, that other women judge other women because they a certain age. Why are you not married yet? What's wrong with you? Or what's going on with you? Why is it that if a woman is happily unmarried and she walks in her truth and she's enjoying life and she's content and happy with the life that she has to prove to people that's really insignificant in her life that she's happy with being happily unmarried? Now, on the opposite side of the coin, there are some women that are happily unmarried and want to be married in the future. However, they are choosing to go through the process, go through the journey, or even be in a relationship. They are choosing to go through a process to become whole within themselves. And I can say I'm on that other side of the coin. I'm not making being in a relationship or getting married my life goal, because I know I have more to give to myself, and more than that. That's not my end all be all prize, And I think in society we have made it where, especially for women, that getting married should be the ultimate goal. And I don't think that. Now, I do believe that marriage is a blessing. Seeing my mom and dad being married for so long until my dad passed away, it was such a blessing. But I don't believe that should be the only goal that you pursue in your life. I take pride in being happily unmarried because I'm still going through a journey and constantly going through the journey of being a better version of myself and having this time to love on me, enjoy my life, travel, do the things that I desire to do. I think that's important for me. And when me and my brother was talking, the song that came up in my head was Lettucey's song. She has a song called Add to Me. I love the song, and I recently, for this podcast, I went back. I said, let me go and read the lyrics. And I'm going to read a little bit of her lyrics, like the hook part. So in her lyrics, she's basically, let me give you a synopsis of the song. In the song, she's talking to the guy in the video, saying, how you going to add to me? Like, I'm not a mediocre woman. I'm actually an extraordinary woman. And if you want to be in a relationship with me, you're pursuing me and doing all the things to get my attention. How are you going to add to me? And I think that's so important, because it's so many women that are, well, I say this, that want to be married, and sometimes they are desperate to be married by a certain age because they're getting older and they don't want to be 40 plus and not married like some of us are. And I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy with that. My time, what's for me won't pass me. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm very confident about knowing that where I'm at in my life, I'm good. I'm content. I'm overflowing. Not being married at this time in my life does not make me or break me. And so in her song, this is what she says in the hook part. I need some relation, good conversation, give me stimulation. What's your motivation? How you going to add to me? Show me what it is you feel for me. I'm just saying, can you handle me? How you going to add to me? I thought those lyrics in her song were powerful. She said, I need some relation. How you going to relate to me? I need some good conversation. Give me mental stimulation. What's your motivation? Like, how are you going to motivate and show me how you going to add to the things that I already built up in my life? Show me what it is you feel for me. Be real with your emotions. Say what you need to say. I'm just saying, can you handle me? Can you handle the queen that I am? Can you handle all that I am? Can you handle the whole me? not a half, but the whole me. How you going to add to me? And so that's how I would pretty much paraphrase the lyrics, because I believe a lot of women, and this is my opinion, because I used to do it too, live in a fairy tale world, because we have, and I love romantic, a whole bunch of, I'm a very romantic person. I'm a very romantic person, but we romanticize about having a prince, or I'm not a prince, but a king to rescue us. But yet we're not doing the job to rescue ourselves from the things we need to be healed from. I truly believe it's just so important before you get into a romantic relationship and before you get married, it's so important to take the time to face yourself, face all the things that your issues, and face all the things that you need to heal from. Because if you don't, when you get in that relationship, or better yet, when you get married, it is not going to cover up your issues. It's going to amplify what you have not healed from. I believe too often in relationships as a whole, we'll go into a relationship and then get married, but yet we haven't done the work. We haven't done the work to be whole and happy and happily unmarried before the marriage, because we're outsourcing our emotions and feelings to another person and making them responsible for our happiness, making them responsible for our wholeness. And when they do something that we don't like, we are offended and we fall apart, because we're trying to make somebody else responsible for something that we should have done the work on before we decided to get into the relationship, or before we decided to get married. So I think her song was just awesome and relevant. And of course, we have all heard this quote that happiness is an inside job. If you're not happy with who you are, and you don't know who you are, and you don't know what your truth is, like a lot of people say, live in your truth. If you don't know who you are, or what I call an authentic journey, I started my authentic journey in 2011. If you're not going on a journey to know yourself and to heal, you don't know who you are. And so then you get into a marriage, with the same issues. And my thing is, you have to make sure you and that person is on one accord. Like I said, I love Lettucey song. I need someone that's going to add to the life that I'm already building, the extraordinary life that I'm already building. Sometimes we say, I can do bad by myself. How about I don't want to do bad by myself, and I definitely don't want to add somebody to my life to do bad, to make my life worse. I don't want to do bad all by myself. I want to do extraordinary things being solo. So when you're coming in my life, you're going to take me to a whole nother extraordinary, what I call the creme de la creme, the best of the best is translated. Creme de la creme is translated as the best of the best life. So when we come together, we're just going upward. Instead of I'm coming in your life or you coming in my life, and we just tearing each other down. I think that's so important. And another thing, there are a lot of women that don't want to get married, and I don't think that as women we should judge each other on our choices. I know people and have friends, that truly stand in their truth and don't want to get married, and I respect them for that, and that's their choice, and they stand in their truth. They're confident in that, and that shows me that they know who they are. They know what they want, and they don't care what other people think or say, because I always say you should not care about what other people think, but you have to get to that point, and the only way you can not care about what people think if you really get to know who you are. One thing I have learned is that marriage is a beautiful thing. Like I said, my parents, being an African American woman, being able to grow up in a two-parent household, which is very rare for a lot of African American men and women, but to be able to grow up in a two-parent household and knowing that what my parents went through was not always easy. They had ups and downs, and as a family with my brothers, we seen the ups and downs, but one thing that remained the same with my parents, I seen the love. One thing my oldest brother said, which I thought was powerful: it's easy to love. Love is not hard. God love us, if that's what you believe. I know I believe that. So love is something that's freely given. Love is not hard. One thing my brother said was, what seems to be hard, which it shouldn't, but what seems to be hard in relationships and especially marriages, is that what are you willing to, I don't want to say tolerate, but what is your non-negotiables? What are you willing to deal with? And then what are your non-negotiables in that relationship? I don't think relationships are difficult. I think they can flow with ease and effortlessness. There doesn't have to be a force if two people are whole and not half, coming together to build a great life. And women that don't want to get married, I commend them, because they're standing in a truth and they're living their life, flourishing and enjoying life. And so I am just so glad to express this on my podcast, that I am happily unmarried, because being happily unmarried is a choice. It's not a death sentence. For me, it's a choice. And when you stand powerful in your choice, then everything else in your life has clarity. Not saying for me personally, not that, oh, I don't want to be married. No, I do want to get married. But at the same time, at this point in time in my life, I've been going through a journey of healing and being whole and not settling, setting boundaries for myself. So when that right man comes, it's going to be effortless. Not saying we're not going to go through ups and downs in our marriage dynamic, not saying that, but we will be able to respect each other and be two mature people coming together as a king and a queen, coming together in order to respect each other's space, time, and growth, and letting each other be each other. But we bring in the best to each other in love and kindness. So I really wanted to do this podcast because I wanted to stand in my truth today. And just because I am a woman of a certain age, I'm no longer 20. I'm not 30 anymore. I am over 35. So with that said, being single, being a woman that's single over 35 is not the end of the world. I think this is the best time that you are getting to know who you are. It's sad that in a society we have promoted the idea, like I said, especially in the African American community, that if you are not married by this age, something is wrong with that woman. Like I said, especially in the African American community, it's okay. And I think you have to let people live in their truth without judgment, because I feel like it's so important to give people that time to heal. I feel if a person is taking their time to heal and get to know themselves, like I am doing, like I've been doing for the last, oh my goodness, since 2011. So in the last 9 years, I have constantly gone through a journey, different journeys at different times of healing. I'm not desperate to get married. I know right now that is not for me at this time. It will happen for me. I believe it. I know God got my back, but do I worry about it? Do I think about it as I am getting older? No, because I know that the man that God has for me is going to be an ebb and flow. It's not going to be something that's hard, because I trust God with my love life, and I don't have to jump to the first man that you know, say I'm pretty or say he want to marry me or whatever the case might be. I just feel like stand in your power of being happily unmarried. I don't hear it talked about a lot, but being happily unmarried is important because like the Lettucey song said, how are you going to add to me? That's great. You could be nice looking, but I got all this. I'm an extraordinary woman and I'm building an extraordinary empire. How are you going to add to me? And not only that, how am I going to add to you? Because that man, and not putting that man down, no, that man can have extraordinary things. And if he's a healthy man, meaning if he is whole and not dealing with toxic things, and he coming to you as a healthy man, so y'all both can have a healthy relationship, because that's the most important thing, to have a healthy relationship as well as healthy marriage. And he coming to you having all this, having all these things in place, how you going to add to him too? I think it's a give and take. So I hope you all enjoyed this podcast today, and know that walk in your truth. If you're not comfortable with being single right now or not being in a relationship, then confront that truth and deal with the ugliness of that. If you are a woman that don't want to get married, don't want to have any kids, I encourage you to walk in that truth too and deal with that and not care about what other people think, because like I always say, people gonna always have an opinion, but their opinion is just exactly that. It's not fact. It's just simply an opinion. Walk in your truth. Be okay with saying, no, I don't want to have any kids. It's a choice. No, I don't want to get married. It's a choice. Be confident in your choices. I'm learning to be more confident in who I am. I'm owning everything about me this year, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm learning to be so much more comfortable in my skin. And I think when you are like that, and if you desire that relationship and that man to come into your life, then it'll be what I'm trying to say, an even flow, because he will see how confident you are. But I refuse to outsource my happiness, love, friendship, or whatever the case might be to another human being, and putting them in a situation where if they don't be what I want them to be, or try to control them or manipulate them to be what I want them to be, I'm upset because I didn't do the work within myself, or he didn't do the work within himself because he's being needy or desperate for me to be something I'm not, and having all these expectations. And I think that's what causes codependent relationships. So I'm just excited talking about this, you all, and I'm gonna leave you with her lyrics again to the hook of her song, and it goes a little something like this. I need some relation, good conversation, give me stimulation. What's your motivation? How you gonna add to me? Show me what it is you feel for me. I'm just saying, can you handle me? How you gonna add to me? Make sure that you are in a relationship or in a marriage and you both are adding to each other and not decreasing or taking away. And make sure as a woman that you know who you are right now, that it's okay to desire marriage, it's okay to want it, but make sure that you're not settling or being desperate just to get a ring on your finger, or just to get, and not even marriage, but just to be in a relationship. It's so important to take that time and love on yourself and treat yourself with exquisite care. Until the next time, everybody, I am encouraging you to live bold, live loud, and live authentically without apology. And thank you so much for this episode, for allowing me to share my truth, because in every episode I feel like I am just growing and evolving as a woman too, in this entire journey. So thank you. You all have a beautiful day.